In this video, I want to go over some of the basic features associated with the MyMathLab graphing tool. So this is a kind of standard looking graphing problem here. You could have a variety of different problems. These could be graphing linear functions or graphing quadratics, and you'll do things a little bit differently based upon what you are graphing. But first and foremost, there are kind of the general features here with MyMathLab. Here's on the right side, help me solve this, do an example, animation, textbook, ask my instructor, which will send a question directly to your instructor, which is a nice tool because then your instructor knows exactly what you're having trouble with. But beyond that, beyond even over here is the left-hand side tool pad where you can for fractions and radicals and all that fun stuff. But with this problem, we're dealing strictly with the grapher. Okay. One thing you can do is if you want to use a little bit larger graph, you can actually click right here, the click to enlarge graph, pretty straightforward. Click on that, and then you actually have all the same tools that are right over here that you will see on the standard graph. So you just want something that's a little bit bigger, a little easier to see. You can also make this screen bigger based on your kind of computer size and window size as well. But let's say you wanted to go in and graph just a standard line, standard linear function, something like this problem that we're looking at. Well, actually, if this was set where it was like y equals 3x plus, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just go along that route. What you have here, and this can cause some confusion, is you see 1 point. Well, if I just put 1 point on a graph somewhere, there's an infinite number of lines that would go through that 1 point. But as long as you have 2 points on a graph, you're fixed in place. That graph is stuck. Okay, imagine doing that. I mean, really, on a piece of paper, draw 2 points and take a pencil or something. There is only one line that will go through those 2 points. It is stuck in place. Whereas at 1 point, you could have an infinite number of lines that go through that. You could spin that pencil around. There's an infinite number of possibilities. So based on how you're solving this, and I am going to be a little general here because I want this video to be able to be used for a variety of different types of problems, is that if you have 2 points, you can go from there. You can get this graph set in stone. Some people will use slope and intercept to find the 2 points. Others will use an XY table. Let's say you did an XY table, and I'm just making up these points. I'm not using the specific problem from that we're dealing with on the screen here. This is just more in general sense. Let's say you went out and you said one of the points that is on this graph using an XY table is 1, 1. I could go right here. See how I'm moving this around, and I go to 1, 1 right there. I click that point. Now we can see we need to pick another point, and that's why we're like right now there's this infinite number of possible lines. But let's say I said at the other point was at 4, 3. Okay, so 4 is the x value and the y value is 3. Right there, I click that. Now my line is set in stone. Okay, if you wanted to change it around, let's say you wanted to delete it, you can just click the delete button here. You can clear the entire thing. If you wanted to make something a dashed line, you can do that. If you're dealing with inequalities, and let's say you had to shade one whole side of the line, you're saying everything greater than this or everything less than that, here's the little button that you will be able to shade it. If you are making a quadratic, let me just delete this, okay? For if you're making a parabola, so you're graphing a quadratic function, the shape of when you graph a quadratic function is called a parabola, you'll take this, and let's see again, you have to, pick your point, okay? Pick that. And then what you're seeing, that first point I picked, that was the vertex. Okay, so again, kind of jumping ahead, and if you were watching this video to learn how to graph something that's linear, then you can completely ignore me now. But if you want to know how to graph something that is a parabola, that is a quadratic function, what you're going to do is you're going to graph the first point is the vertex, and then you also need to graph one other point that is somewhere on that graph. So you find your vertex, graph that, and then maybe I say my other point as at 0, 2. See how I put it right there, 0, 2? Click that, and then it makes it for me. Okay, so it really depends on what you're trying to graph. Hopefully I didn't go too fast, and let me just kind of show you again. This right there, that is for linear functions. This right here, that little parabola shape, that's for quadratics. Depends on your class. There's other functions here as well for, like, say, absolute value, horizontal parabola, circles. My guess is that you won't use those in as many situations. Linear functions are probably the most common. For a wide variety of algebra classes are going to use that. And then also parabolas are probably the next most common. But you do have those other features in there. All right, again, we can clear everything. If you want to hit this, it'll clear all objects on there. It's all gone, and we're back to the start. And again, like I said, if you want a little bit bigger screen, you can click on this, and you can do the exact same things. But instead of being at the bottom, the tools are on the right side. So I can click on that. I'm going to graph my linear function again. Maybe something goes through the origin there, 0, 0, and then also goes through 6 and 2. There we go. There's my line. All right. So, and if you did do that, make sure you hit save for it to actually pop back up on the screen. All right. Well, I hope you found that helpful, and hope everyone has a nice day.